Hello Pisces, this is another timeless love variant reading of yours where we discuss however love may be absent or present in your life, or you may just be here because you have caught a vibe and seeing whether or not anything within the storytelling time is yours. Please bear in mind a few other details while we get ready for your reading. I am Master 7th, aka 7th, that reads these energies for you. Should you want to know who she is, what she has to offer, and all that jazz, her details can be found in the description box below. For a little clarity, I am a master healer that provides remote wellness and or tarot intuitive insights. Bear in mind that this reading may provide you universal justice should you be here in Pisces being in your sun, rising, and or Jupiter position. However, should it be anywhere else in your chart that you're aware of, you may be in search of emotional redemption or just in general could see yourself benefiting from the content over on my sister channel. The link can be found in the description box as well. And there are other various links on how to navigate this channel and my sister channel to be found there too. Please remember that this is not a one-to-one reading. However, this is a general collective insight. So use your discernment to take all of that which belongs to you as you leave the rest behind. All right, let's get into your reading, Pisces. When it comes to the prominent element that's like playing a part of the more or less oracle impact, it's the air element. It was like that for fire sign as well. I felt that. And as I said, that the Ace of Wands comes out, fire element, but the King of Swords. It's funny how I just remembered how that word was one of the most difficult words for me to say. Sword. English, my second language, as I'm now having speech impediment. Goodness gracious. It's that fire and air magic, man. When the energies are too fast, you can catch yourself running a mile a minute, either by words or in thinking or just taking notice of something. And I feel that also speaks of your passionate ways of self. All right, you are very excited for a new opportunity, an anticipatory opportunity if you aren't aware of it yet. Yet it's not gonna burst a bubble of opportunity, knowing and validating a sense of feeling. So don't be afraid to step into the euphoria. I think this is a lesson of what has been on this channel, something that's been in the background for you Pisces, of you in the whispers needing to step into the light, however that may trigger you to feel uncomfortable and then realize you haven't been in it. And this is the, perhaps, again, I think this is where you had a reading, I think I labeled it the pinhole. If I'm right about that, then the pinhole is something that you're like looking in, like the door, and seeing who's knocking. Like the perspective of like, to be or not to be. All right, so I think you're very much becoming grander and vaster, whatever that means in your private life. And when I'm thinking of the private life and stating the private life, I'm not talking about the social part of the private life. I'm talking about literally the world created in your mind, and more or less what you see with your mind's eye, and having that ring true. Some of you have had an erupted kundalini that may ring to you, however that may ring to you. If it doesn't, let it go. Yet there is an unfound passion that is really making you want to really like clear your throat and speak in conviction and knowing and becoming and jurisdiction and logic and passion and a get the fuck out of my way stance. All right, let's see. There's something about feet for a lot of the elements coming up. I mean, a lot of the signs. I don't recall right now who it is, but I'm seeing something about feet coming up for you now too. So this could maybe mean that paying more attention to your feet at the bare minimum is something that you could do to alleviate stress, whether that it's also being able to massage your feet. If you can't afford getting, a foot massage done, rub your own feet. Time for self-love and self-care. And I see some of you really nurturing your body, your temple, and what it means to express in that journey, whom you're going to express it with. Some of you have introduced the term abstinence in your life, so whether that is coming out of it or venturing it into it. Some of you have chosen the title healing to allow yourself to go through a portal of meaning. All right, remember when I said the pinhole? This is like the pinhole, all right, and you're stepped into, more or less without you really knowing yourself how you're getting up and stepping into it. Maybe you're just at the vantage point of looking at it, but your higher self more or less has stepped into this. Your higher self is in tune with the major arcana cards in a reading, okay? And so you, the Seven of Pentacles energy, the minor person, the affliction of having to make all these decisions for themselves, is becoming discerning, to say the least. Okay, it's very proper. It's very prim and proper. It's very, like, fact-orientated, but research-driven. So it's likable. Okay. Oh. Ooh. Okay. It's lots happening. I did see 7-Eleven. But in the mind's eye. Okay. In the mind's eye. 7-Eleven in the mind's eye. We have the Death card. Judgment right here. We have Hanged Man, the Empress, and in 5 Pentacles. So this is, when I said the minor situation, the minor aspect, which is you, the one that has to make all the decisions, you're feeling this, okay? Yeah, your higher self is more or less in contact with you at the same time due to some of the decisions you've allowed yourself to accept in your internal dialogue and your internal universe. And that has made you and is making you the king, non-gender specific energy, the one that's in wanting to be in alignment of your truths. Now the measurements always within this channel is truth versus honesty. Okay, that's a whole different spectrum as 7th through 8th energy. Okay, so honesty is that, well, to be here in tarot doesn't necessarily always mean you're automatically in a negative in search of positive. No, you can be in positive and be in an affirmation of, or aka in search of positive, or negative and then get negative. So whatever the outcome is always what is in the war zone of the external and the internal universe of that which it is that you're participatory in, or not participatory. Like, you might be saying your favorite color internally is maybe pink, but you're living your life saying that you're liking orange. But like, there's a chaos happening within your universe, and you might have your reasons as to why you created that universe for yourself, yet you're in a position where you'll automatically feel awkward if you're not in alignment with what your higher self has made in a certain version of agreement, when it has not only seen the pinhole, stepped in the pinhole, and accepted its choices and analytical process for the flow of having to then accept all the ripple effects from those decisions to come inevitably. There is an awkward feeling of, well, it's awkward, and it's a feeling, and the feeling is awkward, an awkward feeling, and you don't really know where to place it. You don't really know how to feel. You might be lost, feeling like you're lost, feeling like you're dazed and confused. Yet I think it's for this energy is held with a promise. What you find inopportunistic with this energy is being clouded by all this energy, which is up to perspective and how well this energy is clouding you. Is it clouding you with protection? Is it clouding you with ignorance or arrogance or a veil of lies or misinformation, misinterpretation, and illusions and delusions? Those are all essentially what storytelling time using tarot specifically, or oracle messages, allude to, is the game of perception, right? With a game of how do you see yourself in the placement of the world, and the world reflecting back to you, and how do you make sense of that reality? And with the Death card here, Empress and Judgment here, again, is like clouding a veil, and then it's making it ambiguous. Well, is it a good veil? Is it a bad veil? Is it a good judgment call, 1122? Is it a bad judgment call? And I think this is with a promise, again, attached to, while it being simultaneously the promise to the Five of Pentacles, that this feeling of awkwardness doesn't want to be labeled. It doesn't want to be given attention to give you concern of it later. It wants to stay ambiguous. It wants to stay anonymous. 1155. All right, Three of Pentacles. So I think this is, again, the narrative of how all these major arcanas here that came in alignment with the Five of Pentacles are working together with all the paradigms of what it is that you are, which is more like the triangular 3-6-9 magic pyramid aspect of self. Getting lispy. All right. Not for many of you, but some of you have tossed out an opportunity and are like never looking back to it. However that may imply for you. Some of you need to be a bit more attentive to what exactly you're signing your name to and on and for the next annular cycle. So the 3-6-9 magic of a whole year. Just be a little bit more alert. Again, with the 3 and the 5 here, said that there is like a betterment there. There's a plan, and it's the 8 of Pentacles. So the cumulatively is saying that after the 7 of Pentacles, there are some half steps and 16th note maybe to get you to the whole completion of something. Okay, so it being a cumulative of 8 Pentacles is a good step after seeing that from the 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, 9 of Wands. So seeing, again, self-reflection of a space that has no linear sense of time. So it's your experiences of your more or less living Akashic records, and that of which it is you do memory recall upon, and that is then past, present, and future energetical timelines in honor of implying that, okay? For those of you who are not as vast in that, it's more of learning how to be in front of the mirror in the aspect of self-acceptance and promising yourself in the silence of reflection that you will affirm the flesh that you are within, and that doing so is perfect, and how the flesh function is in perfect unison for you. There are a lot of things that challenges the human anatomy to feel uncomfortable, and there are ways that we become maybe sometimes an illusion of how we're ought to be due to society wanting us to maybe be a certain way. And I see the majority of you have lived well enough lives, more or less, or in exposure to a lot of different aspects that life can cover, and understand a common ground that a lot of this shit is inevitable, and it comes with its peaks and lows on how detrimental they can impact an individual, but a little, but even the slightest fracture to anyone can be a big wound to that person who it's happening to. So it's very subjective in how chaos can show up in a person's world and alter more or less their reality, or shape their path of supposed destiny, and make decision process for themselves a bit more difficult, especially if you are more on the gravitational pole of being empathic and quote unquote sensitive. I don't like using that term. It denounces it something negative, in my opinion, when you hear the word sensitive, or used in contextual measures that it's negative. But again, it hits the nail on the head, to the point that I'm trying to make when you use that word. That all the things that come in life that are inevitable, more or less, for anyone who is again on that gravitational pull, to be more in tune with the adulterous ways that life can be, and how people can be vicious towards each other. That there is an opportunity that you've been more or less intrigued in, knowing it's an elephant in your environment, that there's something other. And this other isn't whatever blasphemous shit you know is very loud. And because you sense the other, you're totally content with however universe wants to make herself known. And you are intrigued with the idea of, more or less, punchline stepping into the light and owning it for yourself, and knowing that you don't need to subscribe to the ego dialogue, because you're not part of that dialogue, yet to also make a great relationship with your ego, and knowing that it can and has and will continue to do so, do most of the decision making and hacking at the weeds in order to get to the path that you're walking, or making the path more illuminated in any which way it needs to be for self. The ego does majority of that work. So for anyone, Pisces, that is still in cahoots with themselves that they don't have an ego, is in denial, and denial is not something that is appreciated in ether, not anymore. And I think the siren call of what a lot of people have asked for in decades of history, it may be history repeating itself, but it's the story being played over on repeat that is shrinking of opportunity to be able to impact a lot of people any longer, where there is another her story that is going to be loud, if not louder. And that's just true in you, the individual, becoming possibly aware of feminine and masculine energy in the ether, and that is non-gender specific, which means if it's non-gender specific, also the specificity, the word that I can't ever say. Thank you for correcting me if you did. But the specifics of how the universe functions, and me being a messenger to some of the energies that I feel that I can speak for on the behalf of, are too pissed off still that the energy that gets applauded for doing most of the work is dictated towards being masculine. And that's where you'll more or less find it somewhere within the energies of this channel and my sister channel, that they're just not operating of that interest. There is nothing masculine about earth besides the beauty? And within that contradiction is exactly the ambiguity that makes the universe perfect. And a beautiful non-binary aspect to a very binary world where femininity and masculinity sway with each other, and femininity is masculine and feminine, and masculinity is feminine and masculine. Make it make sense, y'all. All right, I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space, and may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.